Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conscious Conversations. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm the founder of the Transformation Center, which is based in Westport, Connecticut. And at the center, well, in addition to the individual transformation coaching and individual shamanic healing sessions that I do, we also offer a variety of workshops, classes. We even have outdoor sound baths in the backyard where our labyrinth is in the nice weather. And a lot of stuff is on Zoom as well as in person. For example, once a month we have a shamanic clinic on Zoom where you can just get a little introduction to what shamanic healing is all about. So you can look on our website. We're going to put up the contact info. And all the information is there, all the events that are happening. You can check it out, transformationcenterct.com. And it's really all about helping you gain greater self-awareness and let go of your limiting beliefs, discover what they are. That's the first step. And then replacing them with those really inspirational and empowering beliefs that are true. So that's really what we're all about. So welcome to Conscious Conversations again. And I'm so excited tonight that my guest is Kathleen Spellman DeRossi. Welcome, Kathleen.
Hi, Katie. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, well, I've invited you for years.
I know. Finally,
I got here.
Yeah.
So before we get started with our talk, I just want to read a little bit about you, okay, for the audience so they can get to know you just a little bit. Because I've known Kathleen for, I think, at least 7 years now. We met in our holistic health practitioner group in Norwalk. And, I've always admired the way that Kathleen does things and is good at so many things. It's just incredible to me, and so we're going to talk about a lot of that. But, the other thing is a couple of years ago, I heard this for a while, but she finally decided to follow her passion, which is, I really want to hear more about that. So we're going to put up your slide because what she decided to do was go back to acting, which she was as a child, right? A child actor.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, and she's also a voiceover artist and narrator. So she does all that professionally. So you can contact her through the information through her website as an actor. That's one thing. Okay, now wait, just wait. Wait, there's more. She's also an author, yes, and an entrepreneur. She's a freelance paralegal and a Connecticut real estate agent in Westport. I mean, see what I mean? It's just like amazing. So many things that she does. So we're going to put up her slide about that with her real estate information in case you need one. You never know.
Call me.
Yeah. So, for over 20 years, she's supported a private clientele and as a, quote, life transition specialist. That's the paralegal aspect of it, I would imagine. And Mary Poppins for grownups. I love that. That's so cute. And she offers managerial skills and concierge services to navigate life's challenging transitions. So that's a really good thing because so many of us need that.
Well, you make me sound so good.
Well, it's true, but wait, there's more. So because I think this all factors into what we're going to be talking about, right. Really. Because early in her life, and I didn't even know this, Kathleen spent 8 years in the corporate world and 5 years as a bartender in Greenwich Village. I mean, what could be better?
Right.
Which came first, Greenwich Village or bartender? I mean, bartender or corporate?
Corporate was
first.
I left corporate and went to bartending.
Okay. Makes sense to me.
To this day, it's still the most fun job I ever had outside of acting.
I bet, yeah. And she also lived in Europe. Yes. And has a passion for foreign languages, but she's been in Fairfield County for 25 years.
Yes.
And she's raised her 3 children here as a single parent. So, her experiences in this most eclectic journey so far have enhanced an ability to connect with people from all walks of life. I think that's true, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It doesn't matter who you are. I probably have something to talk to you about. My kids are, Mom, you could talk to a stone. Yeah. And I have.
That's great. Yeah. It's really important. And, we connected immediately when we met, for sure. And so I'm curious, though, how did you finally decide to go back to your passion of acting?
You know, it was something that's, once you're bitten by that bug, as I was when I was a kid, it never leaves you. And I acted all through grammar school and high school and college, and then after college, you know, doing a lot of community theater things. And then life took over. You know, I have 3 children. I had them in Greenwich Village, and then we moved here to Connecticut, and I was divorced a few years later. And I raised my children by myself, and I needed to provide for them, so acting wasn't an established career with which to do that. So out of necessity, all these other gifts and skills were born. And now that my children are launched and I'm an empty nester, it's me time. So I really, you know, Katie, I love the Conscious Conversations, your show, because we have conversations with ourselves is the most important conscious conversation, I think. We have them with people and we have them with ourselves. And I think that the conversations I now have with myself as an aging woman, I have let go of things that concern us when we're younger. You know, I kind of don't care what people think anymore. You know, you do the right thing, you go through life, you help as many people as you can, but what is in my soul that I really want to do? And it is, when I act, I bring people joy. When I narrate, there's people that can't pick up a book and read, you know, so you want to bring a story to life for them. And that brings me so much joy. You know, my children brought me huge amounts of joy, and now they're in their own lives, and I miss them. But this is my next phase, you know?
So that's perfect. It's beautiful, actually. And now it's coming together. I understand it. So I love what you said about having a different perspective now. You know, when we get a little bit older, we don't really, we realize that worrying about what other people think or caring what other people think is not the way to go.
It's a waste of energy, but it's a journey that we learn this as we mature. And, you know, they say you get wisdom, you do.
Yes.
You know, and you want to do what's most important to you and what kind of legacy you want to leave. And, you know, that's the most important. I want to not, as Wayne Dyer would say, don't die with your music inside of you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
no, that's a good point. And we learn, you know, all the lessons along the way. And, you know, some of us have mentors and teachers, which is very helpful to learn.
And you, thank you, have been a mentor and a teacher to my children.
Oh, yeah, they're
you know,
great.
Thanks.
Our kids are wonderful.
Well,
I mean,
it takes a village. We're not kidding. You know, and it's because they need to learn to fly.
Well, yes, and, you know, we were just talking before with our producer, David, that sometimes adult children, they need to hear things from other people, not from their parents.
Yes. I live in a neighborhood where there are 2 other mothers there, and they each have, one has 3 children like I do, the other has 2, and we call it, we're in a cul-de-sac, we call it our village. And we have raised our children together for the last 20 plus years.
That's fabulous.
And our children would mentor their children and vice versa, you know, and if I needed my children to hear something, I'd ask one of them, can you say, you know, you know, because it takes a lot.
Well, you hear it differently. You know, I mean, we all have filters, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, all of us, you know, not just when we're kids or adult kids, but when we're from any time, we all have filters, you know, and the filters are what we think about ourselves, what we believe, right?
Yes, the conversation you have with yourself.
Yeah.
What do you say to yourself?
Yeah.
You know, do you put yourself down? Because that translates to, you know, people hear that. Not only do you set yourself up for failure when you do that, but and I see these mistakes that I've made, you know, as a mother. If I put myself down, or if I'm worried about something, that passes along, and it teaches them to be worried about this or worried about that, you know.
Oh yeah, words have power for
Yes.
sure. And there's a, you know, there's something now, I think it's called conscious parenting,
Mm-hmm.
which explores all of these areas and helps parents, you know, because we had our kids, it feels like a long time ago, right? You know, I think modern younger parents have a little bit more opportunity to know things that we didn't know.
Yes.
Feels like.
They also have, I think, more struggles too with the social media craze. I mean, when my kids were just going into high school is when cell phones really came out, and you know, texting was, you know, the iPhone hadn't been out yet, and I think the world has changed so much, and I'm so grateful that my kids are out of school and we're all done with all of that,
Yeah,
because
that's a good point.
it's huge struggles for parents to deal with that nowadays, I think.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
You know?
And you know, a lot of research around that, how teenagers and younger are struggling with that,
Right.
with self-concept, with, you know, all the bullying that goes on, and it's really, yeah, no, that's a good point. There's a lot of that, and the tools are not really developed yet, I don't believe, to fully understand it and deal with it.
Right.
Yeah, so we have a long way to go. Yeah, there is a lot of information out there for parents too. So I'm hoping, you know, I was thinking about that this morning. It's like the next generation, you know, how can we help make it better for them while we're still able to?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what can we do? And I think about that a lot.
I think the struggles too, even what I've learned, you know, and what you've learned, and the wisdom, is to somehow try to pass that on already, you know, try to give it to them while they're younger, and, you know, try to instill in them that it doesn't matter what other people think of you. It doesn't matter what social media says about you. You know, just be yourself.
Yeah.
And because the world needs you, needs every individual. You know, I look, my journey, all I ever wanted to do was act, but yet the crooked road that I've taken to finally getting here has, I know I've helped others, but as much as I have helped my clients, they have helped me, and I've learned huge lessons from them. You know, like what really is important in your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's the relationships you build, it's your health. Because if you're not healthy, you can't really do anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about the material things. Yes, those things are lovely, and they can make your physical life easier, but they don't necessarily make your emotional life easier.
Well, right, and they
You
don't,
know?
as you said at the very beginning, they don't feed your soul. They're not what feeds your soul.
Exactly.
You know, we're not our body, we're not our stuff.
Right.
You know, for me, it goes back to that. Like,
Yes.
who are we really? We're a spark of the divine.
That's it. We are. And what are you going to leave here when you leave?
Yeah, and love.
Yes, love.
Yeah, and I think, you know, getting back to the parenting thing, it's, I mean, if you had to pick one thing, I think I would pick unconditional love, and really being explicit about it. Because growing up, you know, a lot of us got the message, you know, my mother didn't love me. And of course she did, but it wasn't, it didn't come through in what she said or did. You know, that was who she was. So I think it's really important for us to demonstrate to our kids in many ways that they are loved, you know, they are valued, and, you know, making mistakes is great.
Yeah, fail forward, right? They say.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you get that, And then you also realize that your parents have their own issues and their own faults, and they were human. You know, when you're little, you think of them as like the be all and end all, and when they're struggling and suffering, that passes on.
Well, that was exactly it.
Yeah.
I mean, both of my parents were alcoholics, and so it took a while, you know, when I was older to realize that that was their struggle, and they, you know,
Yes.
They couldn't do what they wanted to do
Yes.
for that reason. Yeah, no, it's not easy when you're a kid.
No, I know. I've lived through that myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
what I learned, though, from it has helped me help others with it, you know, because we had to heal from that in our family as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it can be devastating.
Yeah.
You know, it shapes your whole life. And, you know, kudos to one of my parents who decided we're going to be informed on this and learn about it, and then we're going to deal with it. And,
That's
you
great.
know, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and my father was in recovery for about 50 years before he passed. So that changed things a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my siblings and I have, we've all dealt with it in different ways. But it's something you have to deal with.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, my mother healed from that as well. She was in recovery, which changed everything. So,
Right, and it's something that we do need to talk about, and I think just, excuse me, mental health in general. You know, there's a big focus on that now, which I think is terrific because everybody has some form of mental health
yes,
issue, shall we say.
we either have it,
Or we know somebody
somebody
does.
in your life has it, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something to be aware of and to really try to find answers and deal with it, because everybody has it.
Yeah,
in some
in
form.
some form in their life. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that's true. And there's a lot of opportunity to find ways to heal from it. It's not all about you know, the medicine and
Right.
that kind of stuff. I mean, that's probably helpful for some people, but there's a lot more tools out there. And I think a lot of it is spiritually based too.
It is. One of my other favorite quotes from Wayne Dyer is, "When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change."
I also love that.
You
one.
love that? It's the best because,
Yeah.
and there's nothing truer said. I mean, you can look at every challenge you've ever had in your life. You know, I had one, I will name, my first child I had via C-section at the very last moment. It was like rush in and do it. And I felt like I failed, I didn't do it right. And then my second son was born with a condition, pyloric stenosis, which required abdominal surgery when he was 11 weeks old. And because I had had abdominal surgery already, I knew how to hold him and how to, you know, which is very challenging, you know, because coughing hurts, you know, let alone lifting your legs to change a diaper or whatever. So everything that you've gone through in your life, I believe, has a reason for some other benefit that comes along later on for you or for someone else, you know, and
Yeah, it's a really good
Yeah.
reminder. It prepares us for what's to come, even though we can't see it in the moment.
right,
We may not be able to see it for a while.
right,
Eventually,
it does.
yeah.
So I changed the way I looked at my C-section,
Oh, there you go. There you go.
saying, oh,
It was a
that's
blessing.
why I had it. Exactly.
Yeah. No,
So,
I definitely believe that. And, you know, there's even one, I go a little bit further with, you know, the saying, well, I'll believe it when I see it.
right,
Well, really, it's, you already see what you believe.
yes,
So it's like,
yes,
you can't not, I mean, if you believe something, then you're going to see it that way.
right,
So it's your beliefs that inform what you see, what you do, what you think.
right.
So that's why it's so important, you know, like when I work with people with their limiting beliefs, because a lot of them stem from childhood.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
You're
like,
taught.
like I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, whatever it is. It's usually something about yourself that's, you know, sort of
That's limiting.
sort of limiting. Yeah, it's definitely limiting. Yes.
For me, as an actor, that was not a profession that was allowed in my family. It was like, no, what you need something to fall back on. You can't do that. You can't do
It was
that.
more for fun when you were a kid.
Yes, it's a nice hobby, honey.
Uh-huh.
The artists in my family were never, let's say, fostered. My dad could play the piano. I have a sister who could play the piano, but these things were never really nurtured as much as they could have been, you know. And but practical jobs were, you know, because my parents were Depression era parents, you know. So it was nothing against them. They loved us. They gave us what they could give us, which was great. You know, we all went to college. You know, it was wonderful. We had minimal loans. It was really a gift. And I look at all these skills that I've done for clients, you know, the transitions that I've put them through or helped them navigate have all been because I've navigated them for myself, so I knew how to do it. And some things I had to learn on the fly, and it was like, oh, please, you know, let me help them with this. Can I do it? And the answer would always be there, and I could help them.
Because you had that practicality side of you, that you knew how to get things done.
To do it. So you go through moving, divorces, deaths in families, aging, downsizing, all these things I've like navigated the practical aspects of, you know, like doing medical claims and figuring out, you know, a lot of different moving bits and pieces for people.
Wow, that's
but it's because it was born from a need in me, so I helped them, but then their lives gave me something in return that was often, it was beyond just money. It was a window into a world that I wasn't a part of, and I could see, it was, you know, really wonderful. And to go through all that, now all these experiences I can bring with me in my new next venture, you know.
I hadn't thought of that. It really broadened, it continues to broaden your perspective and your experience. Wow. Well, that's a good question. What is next?
What is?
I mean, not that, I don't know how you're going to add anything.
I know. Well, I think it's really a matter of now putting myself out there as, you know, as an actor and a voiceover narrator. I have my new materials. I have demos, and not being afraid that I'm not good enough at it and I can't do it, because I'm telling myself I know I can do this. You know, there's a reason that I have loved it for so many years.
Yes.
And that now I feel like, you know, most people at my age are retiring, you know, like my siblings are all retired.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not a matter of retiring. You know, I still love to help people find houses and sell their homes. I still love to do some freelance paralegal work. You know, I navigate probate courts pretty good, pretty well. Yeah. But this, I'd love to also, I could be 85 years old sitting in my recording booth, recording, you know, narrating books and recording commercials, and
absolutely.
You know.
I love that.
So
Kathleen.
that's my retirement, is like doing what I love to do.
Oh gosh, well please tell the audience that.
Yes, you can't just give up on life. You do what you really love to do, and we all know what's in our soul. Do you remember Barbara Scheer? Barbara Scheer, she was like the very first life coach ever for career coaching, and she just passed away a couple of years ago. But she was the first one that said she would help people figure out what they love to do, and it usually stems from something in your childhood.
Yes,
you know,
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all of this. You're really an inspiration, I think.
Thank you, Katie, really. You know, I love your center. I love your sound baths. I love your shamanic sessions. I do.
Well, we'll definitely keep it up.
Yes.
So thanks again for being here today.
Thank you.
And thank you to our audience for being here. I hope you got as much out of it today as I did talking to Kathleen. And thank you to Verso Studios at the Westport Library for hosting us. We love you guys. Bye-bye. Namaste.